Hello listeners, I'm excited to have you join us today for another expository and insightful episode of our program series called Issues in Economic Development on Amorgate Radio Communications. I am your host, Titilola Ogunsono. Last episode, we started looking at the concept job outsourcing. We established that job outsourcing is a process by which a firm gives some of its business functions or units to a third-party firm to manage. And we mentioned that some job functions or units that could be outsourced include IT services, your research unit, engineering, app development, legal services, and even customer services, among others. Okay, we went further to examine the reasons, the advantages, the merit of outsourcing. And first thing that we mentioned, that the major reason why firms want to outsource is to reduce their costs, especially operational costs. They want to reduce the cost of labor, the cost of production. Definitely firms will seek alternatives where the cost of labor is cheaper, where cost of infrastructure is cheaper. So this makes job outsourcing to other countries, very attractive for firms. And the second reason we mentioned that it enables businesses, firms to concentrate on their core functions. They get more strategic. So, for example, we mentioned that for a consulting or management firm, the core function is not going to be legal services. So you don't want to spend all your resources on legal services because that's not your core competence. You want to outsource that to another company. And we said again that outsourcing your non-core functions to other organizations that will be their core function will help you, as a firm to increase your level of efficiency. You can do more, with minimum resources. And again, time is also of essence in business. So you can do more within in a limited time space. And once you get efficient as a firm, definitely it will going to speak to what you call your bottom line. So firms who want to outsource some of the job functions into another country, to another firm, to a third party, it will increase their level of profitability. They want increase in profit, which of course is the primary motive of why firms are in business. And firms are not mainly motivated by money alone. You also want to outsource so that it gives room for staffing flexibility. So your peak periods, you can outsource some of that job function to a third party during your peak periods as an organization. And what else will give you that amount of flexibility, that room of flexibility, if not job outsourcing? It should be noted that in spite of this merit, the benefit that you have mentioned that job outsourcing could bring to a business, to a firm, it could have adverse effects on a nation. Thus, on today's episode, we will be considering some of the consequences, the cons of outsourcing. We will take global outsourcing statistics and also consider some top outsourcing destinations around the globe for developed countries. One of the effects of outsourcing is that it could lead to a decline in job opportunities. Outsourcing some job functions to another country will lead to job losses. So let's take a typical example. Our firms in Ghana outsourcing their IT services to another firm in China or in Japan. So what happens? What happens is that those with IT skills in Ghana will be deprived of job opportunities because we have outsourced, to either China or Japan. Those in Ghana would not have the jobs available. However, there will be more job opportunities for the workforce in China or Japan that you have outsourced to. So that's one of the consequences, the cons of outsourcing. And why we are considering job outsourcing in the first place is that for us to see the concept, for us to know the merit, and in spite of the merit at an individual level in terms of firms, in terms of household level, we are going to look at it, the effect it could have at the macro level on the economy at large. So once you outsource, as beautiful as that concept is, if we are not careful, you realize that there will be, job losses in your country, okay, at the macro level. And when people do not have the job opportunities, or you even have your jobs and the company has decided to outsource it to another country and people lose their job, it's going to have multiplier effect on the economy. So let's look at it like this, okay? People do not have the job opportunities, they have lost their job. It's going to lead to social economic challenges, because when people lose their job, okay, it means that they have lost income, and when they lose income, they cannot save. And in fact, when we're talking about saving in this instance, when they cannot even save, not just saving, you are going to be talking about people falling into that poverty trap, that poverty level. And when people are poor, definitely you are also speaking to some social issues, because the level of crime rate is likely to be high. When people are poor, they are not likely to be able to feed well. So you're not going to be speaking to mortality rates. They can't even have access, to adequate medical services as when needed. And when people are poor, what it speaks to at the capital, stock formation of a country. It speaks to the level of investment which is likely to drop. And when that drops also, you are speaking to the level of goods and services produced in a nation, speaking to the level of economic development measured by your gross domestic product. Okay, you are speaking to that. And when you are also speaking to your level of growth, how do you want to achieve the economic development, let alone sustainable economic development? Loss of jobs would typically lead to what we call the vicious cycle of poverty. Okay, so you can see the way it goes round. Okay, that's why in economics we talk a lot about multiplier effect, because we understand that once we touch one macroeconomic variable, is going to have multiple multiplier effects almost on all sectors, on other sectors, in the economy. So what's the way out when things happen? You see that governments, will have to encourage and improve on economic diversification and invest heavily in sectors that are less susceptible to outsourcing. Okay, so as beautiful as job outsourcing is, for a firm, for a business, if not properly managed, okay, if the economy is not responsive enough, they don't have structures to be responsive in order to diversify the economy, you are going to have issues in terms of high level of unemployment rates in the economy. The second consequence of outsourcing is that definitely there will be a reduction in economic activities. You have outsourced your production, for instance, your production unit to another country like China because labor cost is low. So what happens to your country? The economic activity will be reduced, because when you talk about production, the raw materials, you are going to have vendors, you are going to have people. So the level of economic activities in that country from which the job has been outsourced would reduce. However, in the other country, like China, that have used, the level of economic activities would increase. So these are some of the demerits of job outsourcing. And who would be badly affected? Definitely is local businesses, your firms will be affected in the country. So that is it. Okay, so let's look at another one. The third consequence of job outsourcing on a nation is reduction in tax revenue. One of the major components of revenue for a government is through tax. Okay, and when you have outsourced your job function to another country, okay, so it means that you are going to be depriving the government the opportunity to tax income. You have outsourced, so definitely the PIT, personal income tax, government cannot get that from you because you are paying that, probably in another country you have outsourced to. So this I'm going to reduce, the government revenue in terms of tax collection. And the implication of a reduction in tax revenue for government is that when they have capital expenditure to carry out, because they want to build bridges, they want to construct roads, the government wants to build infrastructures in the education sector, in the health sector, in the mining sector. Since the funds would not be readily available because there'll be a drastic reduction in the tax that will be collected, then government is likely to resort into borrowing. And when they borrow, definitely it's not going to come cheap. When they borrow, there'll be an interest element. And if government cannot even borrow domestically, when we talk about domestic debts, then government will resort to borrowing at international level, to foreign debt. And that would also have adverse effects on your national income. So you can see the way it is. Okay, you outsource as a firm, as a business, in order to increase your profitability level. But at the macro level, it's going to also have adverse effects on tax revenue collection base of the government. Let's consider the fourth disadvantage of job outsourcing. Okay, is that there will be a major shift in the level of competitiveness. When firms in a particular nation continue to outsource certain job functions to other countries because of cost advantage, gradually such a country could lose its competitive advantage in certain industries, sectors, and thus this would result in a reduction or a decline or a fall in economic competitiveness. So if a firm, continue to outsource its production of a product to another country, over time it will lose its competitive advantage in that country. The more you produce, you get better at it, you acquire skills, you get the experience, you get that competitive advantage as a firm, not talking about firms in a particular nation. So once you continue to outsource, the other firm gets better and you are likely to lose your competitive advantage, as a country in the production of that product in a particular sector. That's one of the major disadvantages of job outsourcing. And the last factor I'll be considering is trade deficit. Once you continue to outsource some production function unit to another country, it will lead to what we call trade deficit. So let's use a typical example of outsourcing your manufacturing function to another country. So let's look at Nigeria. Consider Nigeria have decided as a firm to outsource production of a particular product, my production line, to China. So the implication is that I'm going to be producing in China. So the implication is that after production in China, I'm going to have to import those products to Nigeria. Okay? Now, I'm importing from China to Nigeria. It's going to increase the level of my, imports as a nation from China. Now, what am I exporting as a nation to China? So, if I'm not exporting more, if China is not importing from me, I'm the one importing from China, so it's going to affect your trade balance. When you talk about trade balance, you are talking about the difference, comparing your imports with your exports. So if I'm importing from China and I'm not exporting other services, I don't have other countries also outsourcing to me, then that's going to be trade imbalance. That's going to be what we call trade deficit. And when you are importing from China, into Nigeria, okay, it means that you are going to be demanding more of their currency. And if China is not importing from me, they're not going to be demanding my currency. So it's going to affect your trade balance. And a situation when your export is less than your import, then that's a problem. Okay? So when your import is more than your export, that is a problem. That's a trade deficit because you're going to be demanding more foreign currency, and this is most likely to affect the level of economic growth in your country. So think of job outsourcing in spite of its merit, in spite of the advantages of, especially cost advantage, level of efficiency that could bring to you, flexible staffing, opportunities. We also have to ensure as a nation that other countries too, are sourcing to us, not just a particular country outsourcing to other country. You are talking about the aspect of trade balance. You also want to develop on your skills. You want to specialize in some areas such that other nations too can outsource some job functions. So we talk about the competitive edge. So every country will start looking inwards to say that what are my area of strength? What can I consolidate upon? What can we do better? Is it IT? Is it HRM? Is it app? Is it content? What can we do, better? What can we do best? Not even better. What can we do best as a nation? Or is it in terms of even infrastructure? What can we do? What can we offer the world so that it's not just our firms always outsourcing to other countries, other nations, other continents? What can we do to attract other nations, other continent firms in other nations, other continents too, to outsource their job functions to us? You can't have expertise in all areas. You must know where your strengths are, consolidate on your strength, build on it to be the best in it across the globe. Let's look at some global outsourcing statistics, Global spending on outsourcing is an estimated $731 billion last year. It has been established that 92% of G2000 companies use IT outsourcing. That is a whole lot. Also, in terms of some countries doing a lot in terms of outsourcing, being able to attract firms to their country to solve some of their job functions. It's a case of Philippines. 9% of Philippines gross domestic product GDP comes from business process outsourcing. That is a whole lot. And again, coming to small businesses, statistics have shown that some 37% of small businesses outsource at least one business process. 37%. Also, let's look at in terms of employment opportunities that outsourcing has brought and is bringing on the table for various nations. Over 1 million new employees join the services outsourcing industry in China each year. In fact, that's huge. I also saw a report when it was stated that 3 in 5 organizations turn to outsourcing for app development. That's another, evolving, another huge market out there. Whether we like it or not, the outsourcing market is evolving, is expanding. People are seeing the need to continue to outsource. So definitely as a nation, you need to continue to, on your skills, look inwards to see where can you have that competitive advantage, what can you do best, okay, what has nature given to you, what can you deliberately build so that people can outsource their job roles, their job functions to your country. You must make it attractive. So can you make your country the best outsourcing hub around the globe? If you're just joining us, thank you so much for joining. We are discussing the demerit, the consequences that job outsourcing could have on a nation. And just now we also looked at some interesting statistics as regards outsourcing on the global level. Okay, so now we'll be looking at the top outsourcing destinations for developed countries. Which of these countries have done so well, are still doing so well in attracting, jobs, functions being outsourced to their countries. Okay, now I mentioned one of the statistics I mentioned was 9% of Philippines GDP, gross domestic product, comes from 9% of our GDP comes from outsourcing business processes. Okay, and that is huge. So the first country I want to consider is Philippines. What makes it outstanding? What are the unique features of this country? What do they do so well? We'll be looking at this shortly. Philippines is one of the top outsourcing destinations, and the reason is that it has highly educated and English-speaking workforce. Okay, and it has a lot of similarities with Western countries. And when it comes to a provider of customer support services, is a leading provider of that. In fact, it's another name for Philippines, well known in the outsourcing world, that is the call center capital of the world. So the question you could also ask is why Philippines? Okay, that's some very interesting statistics about Philippines. Is that the country ranked 18th in the global list of countries in terms of English proficiency. It had an impressive rate of 98.18% in 2021. Another thing why Philippines is that it had affordable cost of living. Okay, compared with Western countries, it is known for its affordable cost of living. And what's the implication of this? The implication is that it has lower operational costs, and you're going to pay lower wages in terms of salaries. Okay, and that is an area of interest for firms that want to reduce their cost, their cost of operations. Okay, and another distinct feature of Philippines is that it has a very strong work ethics. Okay, they are known for handling complex tasks, and not just handling complex tasks, is that they are known for meeting crucial deadlines. So you have deadlines that are very crucial. You will get that with Philippines, that's known for meeting up. Okay, so that's the first country I'm considering in terms of the top outsourcing destinations around the globe. Now, it's important to state this, that when people are considering outsourcing their job functions, that some common factors that you put into consideration when you're choosing your outsourcing destinations. Okay, you're looking at things like your time zone differences. You're looking at English proficiency, both oral, okay, and written. You are looking at the technical education level. You are also looking at the level of experience with complex projects. You are looking at the technological edge of that country where you want to outsource to, and also cultural diversity. You are looking at the culture, of the country. You are looking at the culture, of firms in that country, the corporate culture of firms, you don't want a toxic environment. These are factors that people will consider. So against all of these factors, these metrics, I've looked at Philippines as part of the stages, okay, in terms of time zone, English proficiency, technical education level, and all that. So these are factors that I want to consider as a firm before outsourcing your job function in terms of choosing the destination, of where you want of your job outsourcing outlet. And it's important to also mention the issue of cultural compatibility. Why cultural peculiarities could be bothersome to some people. For Philippines, the country has a rich and colorful history that makes its people open to other culture. They express and show respect for other people's culture. They're also always eager to know other people. So it's a very warm culture over there. Okay, no wonder a lot of firms are outsourcing their function business units there. Another place we want to consider, the second destination, is China. It's famous, for manufacturing and production related services. So in terms of manufacturing function, China is a place that most firms would want to consider or already considering. The third country we want to look at is India. Okay, they have large pool of English-speaking skilled labor workforce. Also, the Philippines, they have strong IT industry. We have a large number of software development, comes to customer support, data entry services. India is very strong there, and in fact, the employment rate for software engineers is about 93.5%. Okay, now they also have some peculiar, features which stands them out. Okay, they are known for their hard work and the love for learning. Okay, and also when it comes to punctuality and respect for people's time. Okay, that is India for you. Another top outsourcing destination you could want to consider is Argentina. Argentina specializes in tech stack creation, software development, and other IT-related services. Why would you want to consider Argentina? It's because they have top professionals here and the hiring cost is low. Another one we could want to look at is Mexico. Okay, why Mexico? According to Toland's top 20 digital nations in 2021, Mexico ranked 8th. Okay, and also unique features in Mexico is that one, lower wages, which gives firms that competitive edge, cost advantage, and the second one is that the employee retention rate in Mexico is very high. Another country, that outsourcing to is attractive is Poland. Okay, it has one of the best outsourcing countries in the globe. It's one of the best outsourcing countries in the globe. When it comes to advanced data security, you want to consider Poland, especially if you're a firm that processes huge amount of data and you're definitely will be concerned about privacy and security. Okay, and you know that another thing is Poland tech firms comply with the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, for data security and IP protection. And Poland has had this stable economy since 1991. It has maintained a healthy GDP growth rate. Okay, since 1991. In fact, during the pandemic, when even a lot of nations, developed nations, experienced drastic reduction in their gross domestic product, in Poland, even during the pandemic, they witnessed a minimal reduction of less than 3%. Okay, about 2.7%. And so that's Poland for you. That's no wonder Poland is one of the best outsourcing countries around the globe. The last country we'll be considering on this episode is interestingly Brazil. Brazil is known for its well-developed infrastructure and large pool of talent in business processes and also software development services. Okay, while Brazil has laws that support outsourcing. With the 2017 Brazil outsourcing regulations, its government gave its full support to the outsourcing industry. These regulations allow firms to hire outsourced employees to perform both the firm's core activities and non-core operations. So Brazilians have the authority to work on primary functions of a country. And they also have some unique features about the nation. They have modernized digital infrastructure. In fact, they have about 90 technology parks, okay? And also they have fair wage rates, okay? That's what makes Brazil also unique. Wow, I wish I could go on, but we have to drop the curtain here. A big thank you to every one of you, especially those that have joined us from the beginning. The first episode of this quarter on our program series called Issues in Economic Development. You are the reason why we have done this. You are the reason why we do this. You are the reason why we continue to do what we do. Today is the last episode of this quarter. Definitely we'll be back next quarter, next month, okay, with another program series. It's going to be very insightful, very intriguing, very expository, informative. Definitely one quarter to look forward to, okay. If you have feedback for us, questions, suggestions, recommendations, if the areas you want us to consider next quarter, yes, we are open to receiving that feedback from you. All you have to do is to send us a mail, and the email address is contact@thearmorgate.org. The email address I'm going to repeat is contact, CONTACT, @thearmorgate.org, and you can check us up on our website www.thearmorgate.org, and want to learn more about what we do for your consulting needs, for your training needs, communication needs, strategy needs. You want us to look at your tax, your audit needs, AI needs, IT needs. We have you covered. We have professionals, we have experts in different business practice areas at Armorgate. Then you can check us up on our social media handles. On LinkedIn is Armorgate, on Facebook is Armorgate, on Instagram is Armorgate. I would drop the words of Jagdish Dalla, which says that figure out what you are really good at and what you are not. You can't do everything for everyone, and that applies to you as an individual, that applies to you as a business, as a firm, and that applies also to you as a nation, as a country, as a continent. What are you really good at? What can you leverage on to be the best across the globe? You can't do everything for everyone. It's not strategic. Thank you so much, for being with me throughout this quarter. I remain Titilola Ogunshono saying bye from here. Look forward to having you next quarter, next month for another round of expository, informative, and insightful episodes.